Stay in touch with us on Facebook and Instagram at Unique Yet Connected. You are now listening to episode 64 of Unique Yet Connected podcast. The theme for this episode is Gen Z, pessimistic or realistic?
There is an apathy about moving into a new situation. You feel very stuck at this stage. When you are in counter-dependency, you feel very stuck in life.
Hello, brilliant souls in and around the world. Nolitha Fenton is my name. Tolokazi is my clan name, and this is episode 64. A warm welcome to Unique Yet Connected podcast. And as always, Kinga and Nika on the other side of the virtual. Over to you, Kings.
Thank you, Noli. Hello, Nick. Dear listeners and co-editors, I am Kinga Silaji.
Thank you for joining our movement of translating this wisdom of systemic family constellations into a practical language that all of us can easily understand and, most importantly, implement in our daily lives. In this episode, we are still looking at common questions avoidant people ask themselves, as well as statements they say to themselves. Over to you, Kings.
Maybe I won't ever meet the right person. What is the point? How does this question make you feel? Have you ever felt like that, Noli?
No, not with a person. I would say maybe with other things. Maybe my career, maybe business. Is this doubt or fear, Kings?
Futility. I don't know if you can feel that feeling of emptiness which is created by the futility of looking for someone who doesn't exist. In the previous episode, we talked about the counter-dependent stage of the relationship and counter-dependence in a person and why they are so different. When you reach this stage in a relationship, you already made the first step, the most important one, and decided to be in a relationship. As we read through the next questions about you and counter-dependency, you will see that almost all of them are representing an aspect of you that stops you from getting into or even looking for a relationship. They are all like little gates, or more like big gates, and they are all locked. They help you to block the need to connect to another person. What's the point? It is better if you don't even start.
Wow, King. So is this already all is lost type of a thing?
It is similar to the question of why should you start this project? You decide that it is going to fail before you even start something. There is an apathy about moving into a new situation. You feel very stuck in this stage. When you are in counter-dependency, you feel very stuck in your life. You make your movements very small. You confine your life into a smaller and smaller place. If you let your mind take you more and more inside this apathy, less and less, you will be part of life.
Kings, it sounds like you're talking to me somewhere there, so not being a part of life feels extreme, it feels like an extreme thing that one would do. Does it get worse with age? Does it affect a specific age group? Can this affect the younger people?
We tend to hope that the young ones are more optimistic and positive than the older generations, but it is not necessarily true, especially when we look at the Gen Zs. They are the ones who are in their teens and 20s. Their outlook on life has been shaped by the possibility that the Earth as we know it can cease to exist. Climate change can bring natural disasters and make us and almost all life extinct. And then it's only rocks left, and we can only hope that life will restart itself. But we as a human being can cease to exist. It is scary. You find that quite a lot of young kids are depressed. They are not necessarily so upbeat and optimistic as we expect them to be. If the world can collapse at any time, what's the point of finding the right person? What's the point of having kids? What's the point of life? We are in the middle of a global existential crisis. Is it possible that we expect too much from our young ones under these circumstances?
What you are saying is so true, Kings. I'm guilty of expecting young people to be upbeat and optimistic about life. I never thought that climate change is affecting their outlook and response to life. These days, people get excited when they see a social media post of a young person who's optimistic and positive about life and the future. I see this from the comments and the number of times they share the post. You are still listening to episode 64. The theme for this episode is Gen Z pessimistic or realistic? Remember, when you comment, ask questions, like and share our content and links, you help us grow and change lives together. Like us on Facebook and on Instagram.
I was born in the 60s after the Cuban crisis, in the time of the Cold War. Hungary was part of the Eastern Bloc, situated right next to Russia. Russia and America were ceaselessly poking at each other, threatening to drop an atomic bomb on each other. And then Chernobyl happened, and an atomic reactor, which was supposed to be supporting us, turned against people. It is true that we never ever lived in such a luxury than now, knowing that we always have something to eat at home, electricity, piped water, and even having Wi-Fi has become something of a norm. You can go to the shops to pick up what you are cooking without first producing it for yourself. A few hundreds of years ago, a king would have not lived the luxurious lifestyle that we live now. But no generation before the boomers ever had the threat that the whole of humanity can disappear at a blink of an eye. The big word out there will affect your outlook on life as a person, also your willingness to go into a relationship. Generationally, we are children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren of parents who grew up during the Second World War, Cold War, and under the shadow of an imminent apocalypse. Talk about generational trauma and existential crisis.
Wow. May I also say that again? We are the children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren of parents who grew up facing various conflicts unique to each continent. In Africa, we are children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren of parents who grew up in wars between African countries, the colonial wars, massacres, and apartheid. In my family system, we are the children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren of parents who suffered a big loss of children, land, and wealth. As you were talking, I started thinking, what does this have to do with me being stuck in my journey to success? Am I avoiding success to a certain level? It feels like there are certain gates that are locked. And I know now, I'm at a stage where I'm tired. A part of me does want to get to the other side of the gate. Now that I'm realizing this, how do I move forward using systemic work, Kings? Remember, dear listeners, this podcast is based on the principles of systemic work.
Previously, we talked about the phenomena of great love. When in the system there was a great love which was lost, it can stop the following generations from getting engaged in a relationship. Because what's the point? You lost the one, the only one who was the love of your life. But actually, it is not you who lost the only one. It was someone else, yet the loss stayed in the system. There is no way you can put that one down on your own and find the point in looking for someone before this one is worked through with the systemic work. You mentioned success. You have to have faith that there is the right person for you out there. What do you have to work on to strengthen your faith? First is to establish your criteria of the right person for you. Write it down, draw it. When you meet someone, look for his merits and where he is fulfilling your criteria. In constellation, more than probably, I would ask the client if they are comfortable with if we bring in the right person for them and see what is the relationship between the client and this person. And in the same way, we can ask, what is your relationship with success? Because only when we see that in constellation can we say with confidence that, here is something to be adjusted. What is the point of even looking for someone? You are not meant to be on your own. So normally, when you choose this, you choose it as a choice born out from pain. Yours or the ones who came before you.
Yes, yeah, this brings a lot for me. Maybe I won't ever be this successful person that I'm meant to be, that my heart is yearning to be. So what's the point? Maybe I will never be a good parent to my children. Hence, I avoided having children. Dear listener, you can be avoidant in just about anything. Just sit and feel it from your own life. So what is the point? You know, everyone has their own what is the point. And then if you have anything that comes up, Kinga and I are always here. You can reach out to us at uniqueyetconnected@gmail.com.
I love this point, what you made, that we can have a counter-dependent relationship with other things than people, because all is a relationship. In constellations, you can have a look at your relationship to anything and everything, where you say, what's the point? Ask, why do you have such a relationship with it? Why do you don't even start or don't even go there?
I'm thinking about my unfinished scripts now and ideas. And this is all we have for this episode. Please help us share this episode and remember to follow us and hit the subscribe button so we can grow our channel and the podcast.
Thank you for your contribution in helping us to be chosen into the top 10 South Africa family podcasts by FeedSpot. Join our monthly virtual connection circle every first Tuesday evening of the month. To receive your link, subscribe on our website www.uniqueyetconnected.com or check for updates on our socials at uniqueyetconnected.
In the next episode, we are still exploring the natural stages of a romantic relationship, focusing on the counter-dependent stage.
If you feel like you are experiencing limiting patterns or relationship issues and would like to have an individual session, book a family constellation session with us on our website www.uniqueyetconnected.com or on socials, Facebook or Instagram. Our handle on both platforms is @uniqueyetconnected.
A big thank you to you for listening to our episode and to Nick Mons from That Guy Productions for making us sound fabulous and on point. Episode 65 is in 2 weeks' time from now. Tune in on the 23rd of February 2025 from 10 a.m. South African Standard Time. For links and updates, stay tuned to our Facebook and Instagram pages at Unique Yet Connected. Unique spelled YOUNIQUE. Stay unique, stay connected, and remember, you are one of a kind. And we can only create a really meaningful podcast together. Siyabulela, Bayadanki, Kosonom.
Thank you. Siyabulela, Kusunum, Bayadanki.